All right, guys, welcome back to another video here. This is the ZYUH, artist, musician, wannabe actor, and I'm back at it again with another philosophy video here. Now, I wiped all the other videos, and there's a few reasons as to why I did that. I have a hair tie in my car still. I just noticed that, and I don't have long hair anymore. So a lot has changed since I first started this endeavor of wanting to share these philosophy tips, tricks and tools for the common folk wanting to just get out of that that dark spot that they're in. And usually that boils around the adolescent age of 16 to 17, and it can last till you're 30, 35, 40. And some of us never get out of that rut of just, gosh, what am I supposed to do with my life? How do I become happy? How is it that I see people are in relationships? They're in love. Why am I so lonely? Why do I feel so isolated? Why can't I do more? Am I not capable of doing more? Am I inadequate? Am I not smart enough? What is it about me, right? The individual, that's preventing them from excelling in their own passions and desires. Now, this has nothing to do with the higher being, Allah, God. This solely has to do with the individual, their desires, their passions. We can get into more detail as to how those aren't actuality. In actuality, those aren't your desires or passions. And through my belief and through God, those passions and desires and loves and interests for certain things in this world were given to you. And the skills that you have were also given to you. Now it's the responsibility of the adult that you are, or the young adolescent that you are, noticing that you excel in certain areas of life, whether that be cooking, socializing, networking, communicating, exercising is just easy for you. The healthy body, mind, and soul is just comes naturally easy for you. You know where you want to be in life. You know what comes easy for you. You know these things because you've been doing them naturally your whole life. All of a sudden, responsibilities come in. All of a sudden, the workforce comes in. All of a sudden, other individuals on the outside start creeping in and start telling you how to operate, start telling you how to function in society, what to do, what not to do, when to say yes, when to say no. Now these are implemented at the age of 5, 6, 7, when you're in grade school. Of course, there's other, social dynamics in high school, where there's peer pressure, where you want to impress, where you want to fit in and belong. You start losing yourself within the system, within the people. You start forgetting who you are by nature, and you start acting fully as other people within your own body, when it's not actually you. It's not your honest, true you. So at the end of the day, you go, gosh darn it, why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel so alone? Why do I feel so isolated? Well, that's because you're putting yourself in a position where you don't really belong. You may feel like you belong, but at your root, at the gut, in the stomach, that is not where you belong, and you know it. But you're too up here in your head to really notice it. So when you're in a peaceful, meditative, quiet spot, you start noticing those feelings as to that desperation of wanting to belong somewhere where you actually do fit in with like-minded people like you. And you're not just there taking up space because why? Why? Because you feel like you're doing justice or service for those people? Or because you feel like, oh, without you, they couldn't function? No. You have the responsibility and the awareness that allows you to remove yourself from that position if you so choose it. If you so choose to be silent and listen to who you are as a person. At the root part of your gut, your the center of your body. You pay attention to your gut, you boggle it with your mind, and you vocalize it in unison with your heart, with your gut, with your thought. It's all in unison. You don't act on just what you think. You don't act on how your heart feels, right? We want to implement all of these things, which is just 3, your mind, your heart, and your gut, And you want to really challenge yourself to go in and out of that and say, how do I feel about this? How does my heart feel about this? What do I think about this? And how do I truly feel about it? What's my gut instinctual, being saying? So with that, there's that 5 minutes of just me, spewing out some things. I did turn on my tablet because, again, like I said, I have been MIA on the YouTube channel, and it's funny because I got a compliment the other day at the restaurant I work saying that this individual genuinely watches me on YouTube, and I felt bad because I stripped down all those videos, but maybe he was enjoying my music or my other videos. But what I'm saying is that I'm back, and I'm going to be doing these philosophy videos for young adults, for seniors, for anybody really, because truly this philosophical way of thinking, the stoic way of approaching life, kind of maneuvers you in a way where you are in control, where you call the shots. You say no, and you mean no. And it's not, you're not unsure. You're not playing the, I'm going to say no, but I'm just on the, no, you mean no. And you're already on the next task. You have left that opportunity behind because you know that opportunity will not do you justice now, will not do you justice later, and will ever do you justice. So you nip it in the bud right quick. Individuals, people, certain desires and passions of other interests, of other people, coworkers and workers and bosses and things like that, relationships, parents, grandparents, coworkers, anybody, really, manipulating people, right? People who are in that realm of manipulation unconsciously. That's their personality. It's what comes out of them. And they forget that that's not the only side of them. All of us can be manipulating, right? All of us can manipulate an individual, but it's in the awareness that we know when do we kind of try to bend the rule a bit to kind of get what we want and not manipulate people to where we put them to shame or we embarrass them. Survival of the fittest, folks. Come on, get with it. It's like, if somebody's in your way, do it just graciously, right? Respectfully. Eye contact. Acknowledge them and refuse respectfully. Don't be, a douchebag about it. Don't just rub your elbows against people physically, symbolically, however you want to see this. You want to not snake your way through people. You want to give them their time, their respect that they deserve. Because the more friends you make in this life, the easier your life gets. And that doesn't mean you have to be a people pleaser to everybody. That doesn't mean you have to just, oh gosh, let me just take time out of my day to give them 10, 20 minutes of, no. Just be respectful. Know the game. Know how you can be interactive and respectful and be peaceful. Be hopeful. And for example, like today, I'm a sociable, nice guy. My work, has me in a position where I have to be like that. So naturally, I'm good at my job. I act like that outside of my job too. I'm just naturally nice to people. And so here, get this. I'm in school today, right? I went to class. I went to my lecture. Class was canceled. My mood kind of went, kind of like when you have the intention to do something, but then there's that roadblock. There's that no, right? In life as well, it's knowing how to react to certain things that don't go your way, things that you can't change. Obviously, I couldn't change the fact that my class was canceled tonight, so I'm not gonna be mad about it. Sure, I got maybe 10, 15 seconds of just like, oh gosh darn it, but you make use of your day. So I studied for an hour, and then while studying, after studying, I got on the piano, the little lounge piano that they have at the college, and I was, fiddling and playing it. So I put myself in a good and better mood. When I arose from the piano, I looked to my left and there was, another student there. I noticed that their bag was, all buttoned up and designed. And I said, oh, hey, cool bag. And she looked at me. She had her headphones in and she was studying and everything, but I just blurted out, cool bag. And so, she looks down, she doesn't say anything. And I think, I honestly want to say that she didn't hear me. And I kind of said another thing, and I was like, oh, I like the buttons and the design of your bag. And again, there was no, after that, she didn't look up. She just kept writing. And I said, okay, maybe, honestly, maybe she just did not hear me. But, you know, it's things like that where you get ignored, or you feel like you're getting ignored, that can put you in a crappy mood. It's like, gosh, why do I even try with society, right? Why do I even put out the good foot if I'm not getting a good foot back, right? If I'm not getting a good reaction back. But that's the ego. That's the ego saying, you get to play God, and you get to decide on how other people, you know, react. You get to decide on whether they want to acknowledge you or not. You're not in control, buddy, mister. You're not in control. You cannot get upset at things you can't control, like a baby crying on a bus, like your appointment getting canceled, by somebody saying no to you. You cannot get mad at that. That is outside of your control. You have to learn how to accept it and tolerate it and just move forward, and know that not everybody's going to be as agreeable as you, and some people just might be more disagreeable than you. And in that sense, we have to really learn how to put up those boundaries, put up those walls around us, and say, you know what? You don't even have to try to explain it as to why she was acting or why he was acting like that. Don't give him that much power. Just move on with your day. Right here, this just happened like an hour ago, so it's still fresh in my mind, and I'm still affected by it, right? But we really, truly have to just move forward and go, gosh, you're out of college. People are studying. Obviously, not everybody wants to be in a talkative social mood. So once you run down the ideas or run down the solutions as to why that didn't happen as the way you did, as the way you wanted it to happen, you start kind of calming yourself down. It's kind of like when there's a big disaster going on and you need to learn how to breathe because you're freaking out, right? Because there's a huge disaster, a building fell down or whatever, an earthquake, or it's something out of your control, right? And so you start hyperventilating, you start having anxiety. We've got to learn how to just calm the breathing down, right? And I know I come at you with high anxiety, right? This high talkative sense, but that to me works at a certain point, right? It comes to a tipping point where I talk and speak too fast, where my thoughts can't keep up. So again, you have to be aware of your personality and how it affects other people, right? And so this here basically is just turning out as like an introductory video for the vlogs. All the vlogs that are coming in, I've written about 4 episodes now. I've got a total of 10 episodes I want to share with you guys. And so with these, again, tips, tricks, and tools, this will allow the individual who, again, is feeling isolated and alone, or feels like they can do more, but they don't know how to approach it. They don't know how to get there. What are the necessary steps that I need to take, the individual needs to take, in order to kind of map out their future, but not in a way where it's concrete. And I think of the future like a painting. It's always changing. At first, you put out your rough draft on that canvas. You have a sketch of what you want to see. And then all of a sudden you start seeing that, well, I need to move this line just this way. Well, that's one goal being shifted to another goal, or that's one idea being changed to another idea. And so with these lines, they're being maneuvered, right? We haven't thrown in any color yet. We haven't thrown in any critical thinking or concept, or this is where the light is coming. Or maybe we have. Maybe we understand that the light is going to be coming from this side, so we need to incorporate shadows over here, right? This is getting too in-depth with painting, but you understand that what we're doing is we're just mapping out a rough sketch. But as you move forward with the painting and throwing in color, you start seeing that painting being transformed into something different. And that's okay. And the reason why is because at the root of it, you know what you want to be. You know how you want to approach it. But sometimes in life, there are those no's, disagreeable people with conflict, tribulation, trouble, coming to you, dumping their trouble to you, and then here you are needing to understand that is their trouble. That is not your trouble. And there's a man upstairs, and his name is God, right? And he can help the individual, because it's not your responsibility to be Superman. It's not your responsibility to save everybody. It is your responsibility to show them how they can get out of that rut by directing them to hopefulness, to faithfulness, to the unknowing, to the belief. Only there will the individual be able to find the strength that is needed to overcome such tragedy in their life. Meaning, if they sit down and meditate and really concentrate and really try to understand where that pain is coming from, because the pain is usually masked within another type of pain. Oh, you have intergenerational trauma. Oh, your parents don't talk to you. Your parents don't say, I love you. Well, did their parents ever say, I love you to them? No, so you can't expect your parents to say, I love you to you, right? This is like a big example, but an example from what I'm getting at is that you can't get mad at somebody, right? For not acting a certain way, right? Mom and dad, grandpa, or guidance counselor, whatever. If they weren't taught to do something that you expect them to do, that's blasphemy. I mean, it's like me expecting a squirrel to fly. I mean, squirrels fly. Some squirrels fly. That was a very bad example. It's like me expecting an ant to grow as big as a dinosaur right before my eyes. I can't get mad at that, right? For it not happening. It's the same concept as your parents, grandparents, or guidance counselors, or workers, or teachers, or bosses doing something that's out of your control. They're acting purely out of instinct. They're acting purely after what they've been taught. So for you being the outsider to judge them, to criticize them, to kind of make them feel less than who they are when they're trying their damnedest, that's an asshole move. I'm sorry to say it, but that's just a jerk move. You don't do that, let alone your parents. It's a way. So here is in that hopefulness, in that belief, there's forgiveness. It's learning how to forgive people, that the individual finds peace. And when they find peace, that is when they actually do their most honest and good work, is when their mind is at a peaceful state. So we really want to pay attention to, again, the relationships that we have. Is there anybody in our life that's kind of not necessarily holding us back, but again, also holding us back, right? Parents can do this, siblings can do this, friendships can do this, relationships can do this, couples can do this, right? Got to nip it in the bud. Successful people know when to say no. And when I say success, I don't mean money. I don't mean being filthy rich. We have to get that out of our head. When I say success, when I title these videos, How to Be Successful, I don't want the individual to go, oh, now this is a way in how to make money, how to be rich. I won't ever have to work a day in my life. You got it all wrong, brother. You got it all wrong, sister. You can't live your life that way, right? Success does not mean money. Success means joy. Success means learning how to live compassionately amongst your neighbors. Success means servicing people without feeling the need to, right? You're doing it out of your own heart and will and desire. We're put on this earth to serve people, okay? We're not put on this earth to work and work and work. We're meant to work, but we're meant to work for other people. We're not supposed to work just for ourselves and for the benefit of ourselves and just to make a buttload of money and kind of just, eat popcorn and look at all the low lives, right? The people not making money. Look at them. They're not making any money. We can't be thinking like that. We have to really put ourselves in a position where if we are making that kind of money, how can we distribute that wealth? So with that being said, this is about 20 minutes into the video. I really want to try to put in maybe about 30 minutes after this to incorporate an episode. Because that was my truest intention here, was to put out an episode. This is an introductory, went a little long. But so I'm gonna title this video episode 1, obviously. And so I have my tablet here, which is really nifty. So remember on my old videos, I was using pieces of paper. And so what I've done is I just typed it out on my tablet. So, I mean, I still have my rough drafts, right? But with my tablet, you know, I can print out these episodes as many times as I want, and I can actually just distribute them to classmates. I can distribute them to people who enjoy my videos and things like that. But of course, the audio is here, right? The visual is here. But for me to retain the information a little bit better is not just to hear the video, but to actually write it out. And then after writing it out, I like typing it out. It's just repeating the process, repeating the information as that helps the individual to, you know, lock and load the information. Okay, so we're gonna go into episode 1 here, which is how to be successful and happy, right? So I want to include the and happy. We're not just trying to be successful as individuals. We're not just trying to be, you know, top dog here. And again, we got to get that mentality out of our head, this hierarchy system, as opposed to just, you know, no, it's a hierarchy system, a way where you think that you're on top of the ladder, when in actuality, everybody is at where you're at, basically. Everybody's trying to do what you're doing. Nobody's ever at the top of the ladder. Everybody's kind of just right in the middle, or, you know, honestly speaking, people are at the bottom. You know, they're not even trying. But nobody is ever at the top. Guess who's at top? And I bet you're going to guess it right. G-O-D. G-O-D is the one who's on top. And so nobody can match him. You know, Jesus Christ, nobody can top him. So it's these individuals, right? These beings in our life that gave us this physical experience that we need to attune to, that we need to remember, that we need to say thanks to, that we need to be thankful and just be great that they exist. Because without them, we are meaningless beings. We have no existence. There is no reason. We really have to let go of the ego, let go of the ego, right? We have to let go of the ego. We have to let it go because it's the one thing that's stopping us from being our true selves, right? Our true selves is not necessarily our personality, but it's a part of it. Our soul, again, that gut root feeling is our purest intention. And so when you're doing something bad and you have the consciousness on top of you and it's saying you're doing something bad, but you still do it, you're playing with devil's fire. And we are all there. We've all done it. And we're not happy about it. Some of us are. Those are the ones who are at the bottom of the ladder. The ones who find pride and joy defacing God's name and using it in vain. The one who deliberately denies God and finds enjoyment in that is the worst kind of person that can exist, I think, because you'd rather just not just acknowledge him, but know that he's there, but still deliberately ignore him. The individual has a choice to either reject God entirely 100%, atheist. Okay, you're an atheist, you don't believe in God. But if you believe in God and knowingly defy him, knowingly, and that's where the majority of us are at, usually at that cusp of I don't know, but I'm like 40% yes, 60% no, or 60% no, and or, you know, 60% yes and 40% no, or, you know, most of us are out there. Hardly any of us are at the 120% of like, and if you are, you know, God bless you, right? If you're at that point where you're just like, I live for God for everything I do, even behind closed doors, I'm a perfect angel. It's like, no, you're not. As a human being, you're not. And I mean, I'm judging, right? I'm judging the person by saying that. And I will be judged for saying that, right? So again, within this here, I'm not a perfect being. So for me to just accept the fact that somebody believes in God 100% is just, I just want to clap and say, congratulations, you made it. You know, like, good for you. I hope I can get there. But if most of us have an understanding that all of the vast majority of us are on the same plane, the same wavelength of, because we go in and out. There are moments in our life, months in our life, where we go, yes, God, and then, no, God. I don't know if that's just me, but when I have discussions with other people, they too go, agnostic, I just don't know. I just don't know. A little yes, I'm a little no, but I'm more I don't know. That is a perfectly fine area to be in. Because to be 100% in something would be truly insane. To be fully, because if that's God's intention for us to be just within him and his realm all the time for infinity, the human mind cannot comprehend that. They can't understand how peaceful of a state that could be. Will it be easy? Will things be better there? Will better even exist in God's realm? Does better even exist, right? Will we have to repeat the process in reincarnation? Will we have to be rebirthed and do it all over again? These are hard-hitting questions that I constantly think about day to day, 5 minutes to the next 5 minutes. I look around my surroundings and I'm constantly questioning things, right? So here we go at episode 1 here. How to be successful, how to be happy. Now, these are 10 steps, all right? 10 things that can help the individual not only become more successful, but become happier within their own body, within their own mind, within their own heart, within their own soul. I'm going to go with these rather quickly because I've done this video before. I've done Instagram posts about this. The information is out there on other video sources. And actually at this moment, I want to give credit because obviously this information is not coming from me and my noggin. Otherwise, I'd be preaching at the corner of the street saying like, wake up, wake up, wake up, people, you know, like a crazy philosopher. But, you know, it's the 21st century and it's like, we've had our share of philosophers here. But no, you know, you have your modern philosophers and they're still, you know, asking, how did we get to the moon, right? Like they're digging through these conspiracy things, right? And they're questioning like the technology, they're questioning our existence, they're questioning our capability. In the blast, so get this, in like the 1800s, prior to the 1900s, there's like this gap of technology shifting, right? Of just like advancement, not only in our architecture, but in our communications and the way that we invest our money and banking systems. You go up to the 1940s to the 60s, that's an even bigger jump with the computer in World War II. From the 60s to the 2000s, are you kidding me? Y2K to now, 20 years later with the iPhone. It's like technology is moving way faster than we want it to, right? Because the human being can't keep up with it, right? So, and this can bring a lot of stress and anxiety to the individual, especially the ones who are getting into that adult life, not knowing how to work this new technology that's coming in. AI, artificial, intelligence coming into our workforce, coming into our schools. In the last 5 years, it's been operating the way that we interact on YouTube, the way we interact with our television shows and the media, the things that we consume, TikTok. Our algorithm systems are changed so quickly now. So it's like what we're being fed is truly scarcity. Kind of like it should be at the kind of like point where you have to be aware with what you're feeding your soul right now in this day and age. Way more than you would have had to in the freaking 14, 15, 1600s. You know, you're actually more concerned of just surviving the day. Now everything is just handed to you and you have the luxury to actually, well, some of us have the luxury, not all of us. A lot of people are working day in and day out. They don't have the luxury to ask these hard-hitting questions, to actually just think about these things. But at the same time, how did they get in that position, right? The individual to be such a workaholic. You know, some of us choose to be the workaholic and ignore our family, right? So I am getting off topic here and there, but this is all an umbrella introduction in the sense that we're talking about individuals, rather the average Joe who's working that 9 to 5, who's not finding enjoyment in their life, who can't find a spouse, you know, who can't work a damn, what am I trying to say? Like they can't find any interests in hobbies is kind of like where I was getting at, right? So they find no happiness in their workforce, in their relationships. They have no interests or hobbies. They're not reading. You know, they're not investing the brain in learning a new subject or language, right? So this is the way that our bodies learn. This is the way our bodies find growth. And the way that we evolve as creatures is by developing a system, a routine of some kind that we can revert back to, that we know that, oh, when I study that, when I research that, I feel good. So I'm going to devote some time out of my day to be in that area. Sooner or later, you're going to start seeing yourself as an individual who finds themselves in their research a lot more than in their workforce. And there's that balance that you need to understand, that when you're in your workforce, you're at your workforce and you're leaving your research behind. When you're out of your workforce, you're investing your time in your research, whatever interests you, music, athletic, you know, gym, exercise, reading, whatever interests you, the sea, ocean, fishing, hunting, you know, gathering, arts and crafts, cooking. You see how I'm just naming things that people do that you can invest your leisurely time to just get better. I think of it as like Sims. When you put your sim on a piano for day in and day out, they get exceptionally good. But once you put them in the kitchen, they burn the whole thing down, right? So we need to learn how to balance these certain skills that we find interest in and work on them a little bit every so often, right? Warren Buffett says, spend at least 1 hour a day in learning. You know, the other hours just go about your day, but invest at least 1 hour to just learning, whatever that may be. So here we go. Episode 1 here. Okay, how to be successful, episode 1. Again, I want to make sure that people understand this is not information coming from me. Here we understand that it's coming from Marcus Aurelius, right? A Roman emperor, right? Circa 350 or 400, right? The year 400. Probably before, because Rome fell in 350. I don't know the date, you guys. Marcus Aurelius, okay? Not too savvy on that history there. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor. But this information, I didn't just get it from Marcus Aurelius. Obviously I did. But I got it from a neighboring YouTube channel called Philosophies for Life. And now what they do is they put all this information, the information I'm about to tell you, in a 10-minute video. So if I talk too much, if I'm too much of a blabbermouth, just go to their video and get the information in 10 minutes. It's the same thing. I will put the hyperlink to their channel in the description box, so that way you can find the video. And they have so many videos, and that's where I got the inspiration to do my own style of videos. And now I'm taking the information, but they don't own the information. It's Marcus Aurelius, you know, they own the information. And so what I'm doing is that it was taught to me. I learned this information from that video. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that information and I'm giving it to you, right? I'm passing the torch, essentially, is what I'm doing. I'm not taking it and keeping it to me. And see, that's essential for the individual, the mentor, to understand that they too are a mentee being taught. But as they're being taught as the mentee, they are the mentor, because once you know it, you can pass it to a mentee. I am the mentee, they are the mentor, they are mentoring me, and now I am the mentor as I am the mentee, but I'm mentoring you as you are now the mentee. And we'll get to the 5 people that you want in your life to be rich and to be successful. Now, in that video specifically, that video is something to help you to get rich with money. This video helps you to just get rich in life, rich in your relationships, rich in being successful in just like your career, being peaceful in the area that you are in, whether that's with a family, your workforce, a relationship, your endeavors, your entrepreneurship, your artistry, whatever it may be. With these steps, they help the individual to kind of just narrow in their path and just blindfold them, basically, to be able to say no to things and whatnot, right? So number 1 here, okay? Now this is, again, a stoicism point of view, stoic point of view. I think I should be wearing, actually, because it's becoming winter or like the fall and I do my vlogging outside here, I'm gonna roll down my window. I rolled it up because the construction was going, and it seems as if construction is always going on. I think I was doing this last year and around the same time, and there was construction as well, and I was getting frustrated, and so I started taking my car over here to do the philosophy vlogs. I know you can't see where I'm pointing at, but it's just, I'm over here at the community center here in my city, and there's a nice shady spot over there which is away from traffic. But I'm getting super distracted now that I opened my window. You see that? So a stoicism, a stoic point of view. And so what I was saying, I should wear my beanie. It says stoicism or stoic, the stoic or something. And I got it from, and her is at cereal with a stoic on Instagram. And I'll try to put, I'll put her on the bottom. She's not active right now. She's got a lot of things in her life that she's going through. Again, life takes you away from your endeavors, but the key is to stay consistent with it and not motivated within it. It's just to keep on doing it to the best of your ability. Right now, she's been MIA for about a year, and that's a-okay because I'm not dependent on her knowledge, but it is useful when I consume it, right? And so I bought a beanie personally from her, which I thoroughly enjoy. 10 important insights for happiness. Here we go. By Marcus Aurelius, Meditations book. I highly advise you guys to read that book. It's not too difficult. It is old English, but you got it, guys. Learn something new. Number 1, seek to build your own character. Okay? Seek to build your own character. How do we do that? How do we seek to build our own character here? Aurelius says the mind in itself has no needs except for those it creates. Again, the mind itself has no needs except for those it creates. If I step out my window and I have no needs, then gosh darn it, I have no needs. But if I have a desire, if I have a want, if I want to go out and get it, that is something I have created, and it's put into my brain, and now I have to make a choice. Do I go after it, or do I just forget about it, right? So we live in a materialistic, I think I might just read it, right? And I guess I'll try to figure out how to put the PDF up there, so maybe you can download my my writing, right, my notes. And so that way you can maybe just go over the notes so you don't have to listen to me be all talkative and everything. And so I want the individual to be able to get this information as easily as possible, whatever is comfortable for you, whether that's you wanting to listen to me ramble, or you just want to download the PDF, or if you want to just go to the neighboring Philosophies for Life YouTube channel that just does it in 10 minutes. So there's 3 options for you: the video here, the PDF, or the Philosophies for Life channel. I call it a neighboring channel because I love it. I'm always visiting it. So we live in a materialistic world with phones, clothes, television, cars, toys, and gadgets. The media shows us how rich and famous live, and we embody the lifestyle. Oh, I think it cut out for a little bit because my battery's running out. So I'm gonna maybe do a part 2 here because I know that this video is gonna be extremely long. I just know for a fact because I took basically 40 minutes to just ramble, and now I'm just gonna take the next 20 minutes maybe to make this video an hour. Or actually I might just keep on going. Maybe to just do one video and just keep on going. Okay, so we live in a materialistic world with phones, clothes, television, cars, toys, gadgets. The media shows us how rich and famous people live, and we embody the lifestyle by any means necessary. And the vast majority of us are guilty for this. We are attracted to their lifestyle, especially when we turn on their TV, when we listen to their music and things like that. When we seek happiness in the form of material possession, we will never find joy, okay? There is always room for more. Got a new car, I can get another car. I can get another car. I can get another car, right? Here we go. A newer house or car or business model. More money, more things, more happiness, which eventually leads to us feeling numb of happiness itself. We no longer know what happiness is because we've become too saturated in happiness, right? It's almost like if I'm spending too much time at home with my kitty cat, we feel like we need a separation. There needs to be a separation, a loss of some kind. So when you return, you're more grateful for it. So when you buy a car and then you're away from your new car for 20 years, after 20 years of driving this car, that new car is gonna feel really good. But if you get this car and you drive it for like a couple of months and then you go, I want a new car, you're gonna get that feeling of a new car, but then it's gonna dissipate because you're gonna want that feeling again. It's like drugs. You're just gonna wanna up it a little bit more next time so you can feel a little bit better about yourself, because you're getting that higher high that you need in order to feel something, right? Nothing in this world could possibly match the first feeling of happiness felt in innocence and careful judgment of engagement. Let me read that again, okay? Nothing in this world could possibly match the first feeling of happiness that you feel in innocence and careful judgment of engagement. Somebody who buys a car relentlessly doesn't really care. They're not really doing it in innocence or in careful judgment. They're just picking whatever they think looks cool and they just buy it. Right? So we can't depend on what I have a lot of nasty desires, but I don't act on them, right? So we really want to be aware of what choices we're acting on. When experiences were rare and treasured and with enough separation to the rest and memories of said experience. So what I'm trying to say here is, when we experience something extremely rare, like buying a new car every 20 or 40 years, that happiness is there and it stays there, but you can numb it down if you approach it too fast. And too often you need that separation of buying your new set of headphones every 5 to 10 years and not every year. You will, because technology changes, you'll get a better and cooler thing probably. And not just a one-up in your headphones because, oh, these headphones extend a little longer than the ones prior, right? Like our iPhones kind of thing. We must learn to live in the uncomfortable and learn to take risks, as this helps our judgment and grow in our character. So we really, when we take risks, when we go outside and say, I want to try something new, and if you fail, that's perfectly fine. You're going to learn from that failure kind of thing. But if you choose not to have any thoughts in your head when you step outside, you're never going to grow, right? So just like in the beginning, what Marcus Aurelius says, if you step outside, your thoughts, if you don't have any thoughts when you step outside, you will have no expectations. Nothing will be expected of you. You will be living in a world of complete chaos, as opposed to living in some order and chaos, right? You'll be in total freedom and leisure. You'll have way too much time on your hands, and that's why you see people just leisure and taking up space at gas stations or I don't know what their lifestyles are, but you understand what I'm saying, is that when people are bored out of their mind because they don't have any goals or desires, they look like they're just taking up space and they're not actually doing anything, right? Sometimes we fall prey to the action of placing our happiness in the hands of others. I know this all too well. Don't expect other people to be responsible for your happiness. They are too busy worrying about their own damn happiness, right? So when you go outside the door expecting other people to treat you a certain way, or you're becoming unhappy because other people aren't acting the way you want them to, right? You can't expect them to make your life happy, right? They're too worried about, like today, for my example, that person, the individual was too focused on their life to give me what I wanted. I'm not going to let that affect me. We can't let this stuff affect us, okay? Things don't make us happy, and that's fine, okay? The stuff that's in millions of people's home. Oh, wait, before I get to there, we have to be in control of our emotions. Is kind of where I was at. We have to be in control of our emotions, our thoughts, and most importantly, how we feel about things we cannot change, right? We are responsible for how we react to everything that is beyond us, that is unreachable and unchangeable, right? We have the power to choose how we react, but we don't have the power to choose how they act. Sometimes things don't make us happy, right? Materialistic things. The stuff that's in millions of people's homes is not substance that brings happiness, but pressure to exert both the positive and negative energy towards said possession. Meaning a book that you thoroughly enjoy, but you have that one bad memory with that book, but in itself that book holds good knowledge and you like reading it, but you remember your brother or your sister pretending to light it on fire, and so that's a bad memory for you. Or it's a second copy because they did burn that book on fire because they thought it was funny, or whatever. That was just a dumb, stupid example. That was just an example, like off the top of my head, right? But you can't have things in your home that bring you both happiness and negativity, right? Or if it does, you have to learn how to kind of suppress that negativity, or kind of just be like, okay, there is some negative in that, but it's in that negative that I find positive, and it's within that positive I find negative, and there's a good balance in there. Like a passing of a loved one. That's negative to some people, but there's also positivity there because there's a remembrance of good memories. But it's also kind of, when I say negative, I kind of mean sad, you know. So there are certain things and items in our home that do bring on positivity, but also bring that negativity as well. So we really want to be careful with what we're interacting with in the home, right? So just moving along here. So we cannot expect our things to bring us happiness. It's not their job to bring us happiness to us if we already have happiness inside of us, right? It's only feeding into the happiness we already have. Meaning, if you already feel good in your home, don't buy more things that make you feel good. Find a good balance. This is exactly what I'm saying. If you have a good working car, don't buy yourself another good working car. You've got a good car. Don't be gluttonous in your positivity, materialistic things, right? Your positive materialistic things. Don't go overboard. You have 5 good pair of socks and you really enjoy them. You really don't need another 5 pair of socks unless you need them, right? Just wash them. Just wash them every week, you know. Just put them in the sink and run them with some water and soap, and they're good as new. So if you have too much happiness, it can be too gluttonous, and all that happiness can mirror itself into negativity, meaning you're too clustered. It's too claustrophobic, right? You see how it becomes, there's just too much goodness, and now you can't even go into your kitchen because you have too many of your favorite pots and pans, right? And I see this in people's homes all the time, and they feel frustrated. They have to wash all these clothes. It's like, well, damn, you bought all these clothes. You bought 25, 30 pairs of shirts and shoes and underwears and all these things, and you complain that you have to wash it all. Well, you put yourself in that position. So you need to learn how to minimize our things in order to free up more time, so we're not spending all of our time doing laundry or dishes and things like that. So just again, moving along. Also, the object can be taken away. Again, bringing the happiness to a vibration at a lower level, right? And then you're kind of anticipating or waiting for its return for that object or concept or even the other being, right? When we hold attachments to certain things or beings, and then we're hopeful that they'll come back, you have to learn how to let go of things. You can't just let go of something positive or negative and then go around next month and just buy it again. You have to learn how to let go of your things. Now again, just moving along here. If an object is responsible for our happiness, or even say a career or person is responsible for our happiness, our existence would be left to depend only on each other and intimate objects that eventually disappoint, bringing frustration, leading us all to ruin, jealousy, and hate. Right? When you linger on things, you're gonna find disappointment in that because they're not acting the way that you want them to. They're not returning to you. It's like you let somebody go, but that you're doing it of your own good intentions and your good heart, and they accept that, and they find respect out of that. But then all of a sudden you give them a call, and in a couple of months you say, hey, you know what? I didn't really mean what you say, and that's that. Let them go. move on, move forward. If they truly wanted to stay, they truly wanted to come back, they would, right? And if you're on the fence of, I can control them, I can bring them back, I can, oh, what? For you? For your ego? For your happiness? For your own sanity and peace? But here they are being the people pleaser for you? No way, Jose. Nuh-uh. That's not how life works. You can't go around just tugging people to your desires, to your wishes, and to your passions, and just have a rope of people. It's like, I am actually very successful and I'm very independent, but all of a sudden you have all these people looking out for you. Why? Because you can't do stuff on your own? You can't just haul people around like they're baggage and you can just go to them whenever you feel like it. Oh, I don't really need you right now, but I will need you eventually. You can't do that to people. You can't just pull them on their arm. They're their own beings, worried about their own damn life. And so you need to learn how to treat them with respect. And if they say no, that means no. And you have to learn how to let go. It's not easy, right? We've all been there. I've been there. I have some examples of that. I'm not going to get into too much detail, right? Because there's no reason to. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius here. So we want to seek to be kind, right? We want to be honest and hardworking. We want to be respectful and compassionate. I'm going to repeat those. We want to seek to be kind. We want to seek to be honest. We want to seek to be hardworking and have the self-motivation to whip ourselves in the back and not expect any parent or grandparent to say, oh, well, you're 25, 30. Well, it's because of my parents or my grandparents or my guidance counselors. They never pushed me hard. So that's why I'm where I'm at. No. It's upon the individual to realize that it's upon their shoulders to grab that own whip and to whip themselves in the back into action. Be extremely, in all caps, extremely hard on yourself. Because if you're not, nobody else will be. And if they are, gosh darn it, they truly care about you. Because they're the ones pushing you. They don't have to. You're the one who's supposed to be pushing yourself. You're the one who's supposed to get up on that horse. They're not the one that gets on that horse. You're the one who rides it. So you're the one who needs to excel and go and try. You never know. Your house might catch on fire. Your car might be broken into. See, we're talking about materialistic things here and not being too dependent and too attached to things, right? Your car may stop working. My AC stopped working. You can tell I'm sweating like a dog in here. I have my windows rolled down. It's not something I can afford to fix right now, but I'm just going with the punches. I'm just going with life. You could possibly get mugged, right? Robbed. I mean, I carry a pocket knife all the time with me. I'm Boy Scout ready, right? I grew up in a Boy Scout environment growing up, and that there instilled in me some survival skills. I am always on the defensive side. I'm always not wanting to be the hero kind of thing, but I am not afraid to get in a fight if I have to, right? It's the survival instincts, these instincts that help us grow as an individual. Pick your fights. Don't just go around punching people. No, the lone wolf notices the other lone wolf when they walk into an establishment, whether that be, a restaurant, a bar, a library, wherever it is, a park. The lone wolf notices the other lone wolf. And they're more of the observer, the analyzer, the one that's more has the inquisitive mind, the one who's more peaceful and stoic and concrete, the one who's the quiet one. But gosh darn it, they can do some damage if they need to, and they're not afraid to because they understand justice. They understand the sense of respecting other people, respecting nature. They understand that there is justice in this existence, and there is a judge. But right now, we are servants. And we are providing a service as warriors. And it's our duty as the ones who follow God to showcase that when we see negativity and hate. It's our duty to step in. It's our duty to speak out and to say and to bring people to God, essentially. That is why I speak about God all the time. I speak about God in my work, school, my home. People get annoyed. I don't care. That's the devil. I am me being me as you are being you. And we should all be together, right? Like the Beatles. I am you as you are me, and we should all be together. I think that's what they say. But you kind of get what I'm saying, is that like-minded people, the same concept, the same mind, we're a higher and stronger force, and we can create as a population a new sense of thinking, a new way of approaching life. Again, that ladder, people at the bottom, it's a survival of the fittest, it's evolving, it's growing, and it's understanding that when humans come together, you see it in concerts, you see it at EDM festivals. When they hear a beat, when there's a sensation of a hum, a chanting, the gut feeling of unison, people know what to do. People know how to vibrate there. It's not like, well, unless you're claustrophobic and you're really out of vibration and you're not in tune with everything, you're going to feel very, very high in anxiety and like, get me the hell out of here. But if you're within the trance, that's essentially what we're talking about here, is like-minded people understanding that the only way to grow and evolve in life is to be kind, is to be hopeful, is to believe, right? It's a simple message at the end of the day. Sure, we want to seek to build our own character. Yes, we want to be more than what we were yesterday. But we can't do it ourselves. We have to depend not on our people here in our existence, our human flesh neighbors, but God, the man upstairs himself, because he instills that peace and comfort when nobody else will listen. So, going again, you never know. Your house might catch on fire. Who are you going to depend on? Your people? Well, they might have died in the fire. Yourself? Well, you're probably in a high anxiety state with just losing your family and your home. The fire department didn't get there so soon, so you have blame on them. The police department, you have blame on them. The community, you have blame. So you're blaming everybody. Then you blame yourself for not being able to be the superhero. You're the only survivor. And now you have to just go on with life. That's almost damn near impossible for the individual to just pick up what just happened to them and just say, okay, let's just start over. It's just, I mean, they would be Superman, right? They would be Superman if they could just get up and the only way, honestly, the only way to be Superman, to get over that hump, is to pray. Is to pray for the strength and the confidence to keep on going. And to do justice for him and him only. So your car may be broken into. Again, you blame you place the blame on the robber, right? You're being mugged. You're placing blame on the mugger. Your grandmother passes. You place the blame on the one who took God away, or who took your grandmother away. Your business fails, so you blame the clients that didn't invest well, or you blame your workers for not working the numbers correctly, or you blame yourself for not working hard enough. Let's see, so many bad things can happen in your life, but there's no usage in blaming anyone, let alone yourself. That's not going to get you anywhere in life. So the one things that can never be taken away from you is your character. That self-confidence within you that you not only built yourself, but your neighboring people and also your belief in God. These are people to be thankful for, say thank you, be gracious, have faith in them, that they keep on pushing you in a sense, but have faith in yourself. Push yourself. Try to be more than what you were yesterday or who you were yesterday. It's only in our character that defines us and carries us through life, right? Our character is who we've interacted with, what we consume in the media, what we listen to with our music or podcasts, what we eat, right? What we spend our time, in our environments. Are we around, nasty, dirty, smelly people that aren't really bringing anything to us? than only the drugs and alcohol that we feel we need, kind of thing? Are we surrounding ourselves with too highly intellectual people to where you feel like, oh, I'm getting something out of this? Or are we placing ourselves in an area where it's like right in the middle, right? We don't want to be in an area where we're left out and like people are just way too smart, or people are talking about things that you don't really necessarily know what they're talking about, and you probably never will. So don't be hanging around with people who are outside of your world, or things that you don't understand. And this can also mean like in high school, when you're around a group of friends and they have other interests that don't interest you. It's okay to just pull yourself out and be that lone wolf. I did that in high school. I, for one, took myself out of the group setting to become the lone wolf when I was like 12 years old, because I noticed that I don't interact well with others. And in the sense, it's not that because I'm disrespectful or mean or hateful or anything. It's just that for me, in an intellectual level, sometimes those conversations just go too slow, especially in a group setting. And usually the conversations don't, the things that we talked about wasn't really anything of interest to me. And so I hated wasting my time in a group setting, especially with people that I didn't really care about. I was friendly. They weren't really my friends. I was just talkative, but I found more knowledge in books or on my computer, or just watching anime, or just, diving into my own interests. And that just steadily moved into college and my adult life, is where you can't just be dependent on people all the time. I see adult people, right? Adult groups, people over 40, partying like they're 15. And it's like, you have to get to a point in your life where you can't just be so dependent on other people for your own happiness. Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself out. Single date by yourself, woman or man. Buy yourself that drink. Buy yourself that meal. Read yourself that book. Read that magazine. Scroll that Instagram. Whatever you may want to do. Make it your own night, and a night that you will enjoy. And the more often you do that, and you take yourself out to the movies, take yourself for a stroll in the park or whatever. Anything that you would do on a normal date, do it yourself. As you can find the silence in this, the meditative practice in this, you start questioning your own existence. You start questioning, because you're not there conversing with somebody. You have the time and the leisure to really get in your head and really plan out your life and really try to figure out what is the best choice, whatever it is in your life that you're kind of deciding, whether that's a new relationship, a new career choice, a new school choice, a new child in your life, a new pet in your life. Now, these moments of silence really help the individual, whatever it is. Meditation doesn't necessarily have to mean what you think it is, where it's like cross-legged, and you're like, my meditative practice is taking myself out on that date. It is that 1 hour time for me to be sitting up at that bar with my beer, with my book or my notes, thinking and meditating peacefully. And if somebody bothers me, I kind of just say, hey, you know what? I'm kind of swamped with work, and I really want to focus on this. And usually I have headphones, and they go, oh yeah, no worries. Because people find me interesting as I find people interesting. People who are outspoken, they'll talk to other people. But sometimes I close my work and I'm there in that meditative practice communicating with a stranger, and I learn new things from that person, as that could help me decide on a better decision maybe here, right? So we really want to try to balance out our relationships and try to go in and out and try to be really careful with what we choose in life. So lastly here, who are you? Who do you want to become? Is who you are now somebody you don't want to be, or is who you are now somebody you want to be, but maybe want to be more than how you are today? All right. So this is just section number 1. There's 9 other ones, right? This is a 10-part list. And so this is why I feel like I should do episode 1, part 2, like I did before, and incorporate part 2, right? But before I get into part 2 here, this is the last sentence here. So the person can either rise or fall due to the nature of their character. So again, if who you are is not who you want to be, then we need to make the necessary changes to put you in a position of who you want to be. If you don't write down who you want to be, or your goals or your desires or your passions, you'll never get anything done. Because once you think it, write it down, vocalize it, the next step is to act on it. You can't just be in that state of contemplation and thinking and just all talk. That's where that saying comes from. That guy's all talk. He's not actually doing anything he's saying he wants to do. Oh, I'm going to start up my business. Oh, I'm going to be working over here. Oh, I got a second job. It's not in the works yet, but it's going to happen. People like that. We all know those types of people. I can be like that too, because I'm very talkative and I speak out what I want to do all the time, and to other people sometimes. And that's another thing. You don't want to be too vocal about your goals or what you want to do. You just want to do it and succeed in it, and just boom, that's it, done. Just be kind of like a quiet successor, right? And people are going to notice that you're excelling in things, and you don't have to be so vocalized about it, because that shows immaturity. That shows that, like, hey, look at me, I'm the only one that's important, and I'm the only one that's doing things. Because again, other people are worried about their own damn happiness and their own goals. And so if you're not supporting them, why should they support you? So this leads us into step number 2, which is stop seeking the praise of other people, right? The people pleasers in your life, they're not there to shine on you, right? They're not there to shine for you or to make you shine or anything. We really want to let go of that aspect, that you only depend on people who make you feel good inside or make you feel happy, right? So again, this is the conclusion of the video, because we spent about an hour here discussing, well, not discussing, me just, being a blabbermouth. But I did take 40 minutes, I think it was 40 minutes doing an introductory, saying why I've been MIA. I don't think I said why I was MIA. I think I just said that I was. And the reason why I went MIA was because obviously I was typing up my notes and making these episodes, but I wanted to get into more depth with the episode and not just saying what Marcus Aurelius is saying, but put in my own 2 cents and how I perceive it and how I view it and how I'm channeling it. And so that there concludes this episode. This is Zia, Z-Y-U-H, artist, musician, wannabe actor, and I am here concluding this video. We will do part 2 within the week, hopefully. It seems as if I can do these videos during the day like this, on my days off, which you don't really know. You don't need to know when my days off are. It is a weekend, not the weekend, but it's a couple of days off. So it allows me to type up what I need to type. I do go to school on those days off, so it's not really a day off. I am studying for about 4 to 6 hours in that day. But maybe not 4 to 6. That's a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe about 3 to 4. But no, so next up is part 2 of episode 1, which is how to be successful and happy by Marcus Aurelius, his meditation book. Part number 2 being stop seeking the praise of other people. Now I will go down the rest of the steps, the rest of the things that can help the individual just become more happy and successful. Number 3 being focusing on what you have control over and ignoring the rest. Again, this goes into the concept of not having control over everything. What do you have control on, right? Focus on that. And usually, more than often, the only thing that you have control over is your thoughts and your actions. How you vocalize yourself, I guess. But everything outside of that, you don't have control over. You have control on how you walk in the park. You have control on how you vocalize yourself in the park. But you don't have control over those kids playing over there. You don't have control over the old man with his dog looking at you with judgment eyes, right? I'm just making it up because there's nobody there. But you get what I'm saying. Number 4 being doing something productive with your anger. This is one of my favorite rules because these flies are like making love in my car. Because I get angry. I get angry not all the time. I'm a pretty joyful guy, pretty compassionate lover. I'm sympathetic, empathetic. I try to look at things, with the glass half full. But sometimes my buttons are pushed, right? Just like anybody. And when your buttons are pushed a little too much, and then all of a sudden they're getting pushed even harder, and then you realize you haven't eaten all day, and you're dehydrated, and you've been talking all day, and then all of a sudden you get dumped with more buttons pushed, somebody can just lose it. But it's in that sense that we really need to pay attention and do that 5-minute, to 5-minute meditation. And know your surroundings, and that, like, conserve that anger. Don't release that anger in that moment and explode on that person who has no idea that you're about to explode on them. Suppress that anger, say okay, acknowledge, tolerate. Don't even have to say much, really, just mannerism, really, because when you're angry, you don't really want to talk, because when you start talking, it'll just come out, for me anyway. So you just mannerisms. There's no harm in just being, yep, I got it, okay, I got it, okay, I got it, okay, thank you, all right, thank you, I got it. And so naturally the smile comes up because you're operating in a way that you want to. And on the outside, they may be like, are you mad or something? Because you're smiling and I can't really tell. And then you could just be like, I'm just going through a lot right now, and I don't want to. No, you just be like, I'm going through a lot right now, and I'll do what you ask me to do, and it'll happen. Just be very concrete and just very emotionless, just step by step, very robotic, and okay. And then when you clock out, right, or when you leave class, or you leave your family to go do your work, or whatever it is that got you upset, and you're gonna go exercise, or you're gonna go do something to release that anger, you're conserving that energy, that anger inside of you. And then you want to release it while you're punching that punching bag. You want to release it when you're on that run. For me personally, it's when I'm on my guitar or when I'm painting. That anger that I'm suppressing, I get angry and I'm paint, whatever, and then all of a sudden it's gone. All of a sudden it's like dissipates. The same thing when I go for a run. So it's like doing something productive with your anger is very, very essential. Very, very, for me anyway. Number 4 is like my favorite one. Number 5, negative emotions are a result of negative thinking. And I like to add in this part, which is, okay, so if your negative emotions, right, the way you feel about things are impacting the way you think, which is negatively, vice versa, right? The way you think negatively affects your emotions, which are going to be negative. So it's a mirror image there. Your emotions affect your thinking, and your thinking affects your emotions, and it bounces back and forth. And so we really want to pay attention to positive thoughts and positive emotions. And number 6, being prepared for any outcome and acting with resilience, being that defendant, being that person with boundaries and regulations and rules, and saying, okay, this is how I wanted I wanted the outcome to be this, but it came out like this. And you know what? I wasn't expecting that, but I'm going to have to act with resilience. I'm going to have to act with sharpness, and I have to act with acuteness and awareness, and I have to be prepared. I can't be thrown off with a curveball in a business and be like, well, I was not prepared for that. You have to be prepared for both the positive and negative outcomes of said solution, whatever that may be. You have an investor, and it's like you want them to invest this kind of money, but then all of a sudden they invest this type of money, and you weren't expecting that, but then you have expectations that they will invest more money later, but then they're not, and then you're freaking out, and then where is that other money coming from, right? Should you have a backup savings or something, right? So how can we implement these obscurities, these things that we cannot change? And how can we act with resilience and be prepared for that, right? My phone's about to die, I can tell. Number 7, be insanely grateful for what you have. That one's an easy one. Just wake up and pray and be grateful for the things that you have. Number 8, tolerance is not judging. When you tolerate something, you're not judging it. I'm tolerating the baby crying. I'm tolerating the kid screaming. I'm tolerating, the bad parent. I'm not judging you. I'm tolerating it, and I'm accepting it. Number 9, the peace you need is in you, right? There's a saying or a message from God, and he says, the peace you have is within you. But then society says, you don't have that peace in you. You need that outside source to bring in that peace, that happiness, which is that materialistic thing. That is the conglomerate, those business tactics, the materialistic things that we invest our time in. Now, lastly is probably the most important one, which is appreciating the shortness of life. And I know I can come at you very seriously, like, oh my gosh, this is the one chance for you to actually excel and be successful and yada, yada, yada. It's like, no, if anything out of this whole entire thing, number 10 is the one thing that you should take away from, which is appreciating the shortness of life. And when you understand that, you become more grateful and you start hoping and believing that there is something better than this. If not better, I like to say different, because sometimes we don't necessarily know. I sure as hell don't know if what is after this earth is better than what we have. But I know it will be different. That I know. I don't know if it will be better, but I know it will be different, which is totally, it's just different, right? Because it can have an implication of just a different setting, but it's not necessarily better. Some of us think as heaven as it being, oh, it's Earth 2.0. You're going to have alcohol flowing, money everywhere. You're going to have like what the Indians believe, which is like a bunch of virgins. It's like, if your thought process is still on that materialistic flesh, after your materialistic flesh, it's like, then why even get out of this state, this physicality? Why can't you have those virgins here on this earth? Right? Or why can't you have that money or all those cars, things that you want here on earth? You can. That's the trip. You can have that here. That's not what life is about. And there's another video that I want to share with you guys that I saw on TikTok just about last week. And actually, I will share that PDF with you as well. But I want to make a video on it. And it's basically a conversation between God and a human. And it's one of the most fascinating things I've ever heard. I almost skipped the video, but then I scrolled back up to it. I should say I scrolled down to it, because I scrolled up away from it, right? So then I scrolled down to it, and I was reading it, and I was listening to it, and I go, I gotta type this out. I have to print this out. I have to remember this information. I want to share that information with you guys. So I want you guys to stay in tune for the next part of this episode 1, Marcus Aurelius, How to Be Happy and Successful, right? How to be successful and happy, from his meditation book. This is part 2 coming up. Stop seeking the praise of other people. Now that episode might come this week or next week, for sure next week, on a Monday or Tuesday. I will tell you my days off. It's a Monday or Tuesday. Today is a Wednesday, but I was still able to do the episode. But I will see you when I see you. All right, see you.